Hello? How did you get this number? Don't you know he's listening? The 13. He's here.
You have entered the 13, a place where real stories about music, touring, and the beyond are told. Music does something to us. We all experience it in our own way. It can affect our senses, transport us through time, and release emotions. On this podcast, we will talk with people about the power of music and the beyond. What does the beyond mean? Let's find out together. Turn on your metronomes because this time is about to be tracked.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 13. I'm your host, Ryan 13, and today on the show we have the Cenobabes. And yes, during this episode, I mispronounced their name all over the place. I don't know why. I wanted to call them the Cenobabes or the Xenomorphs or the I don't know, but it's a fantastic name. And the two hosts are fantastic humans. You got Rachel Wells and Laura Kilpatrick. Fantastic people. I know I like to use the word fantastic a lot, but it's because things are fantastic. Anyway, we talk about the music of horror movies in this episode, and it's a lot of fun. Me and Laura just met for the first time on this episode, and she's such a cool person. I've known Rachel for a long time. She's always been cool, just as cool as she's ever been. And you guys, just, you know what? I'm going to stop talking. Let's get into the episode. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 13. I'm your host, Ryan 13, and today we're joined by the Cenobabes. And I'm working on it. And we got Rachel and Laura here. They have a fantastic podcast over. Where can we find your podcast, by the way?
So we launch our podcast via Anchor. So we do have an Anchor page, but you can find it on Spotify if you're a Spotify listener. We're definitely on Apple. There's several other places you can check it out, but we'll make sure you get that link so you guys can go check us out on whatever platform you want to.
There you go. All things these girls will be in the link below. Would you guys like to explain your podcast a little bit? This is a kind of a music show. We talk about music, but it's not necessarily music. It's also the beyond. And you know, you guys are really into horror, and I just, touch on what your show's all about a little bit, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Rachel, do you want to start?
Yeah, I guess so. So basically, my main hobby in life has been watching films, and to be able to share it with like-minded people who would appreciate it the way that I have or do is how I started it. And I kind of reached out via social media. Me and Laura, already being friends, decided to kind of, do it together and try to share with people films that we like to watch. And
yeah. So Cenobabes, basically, if there are any horror fans listening to your show right now, it's deeply rooted in Hellraiser. So Rachel actually came up with the name of our show.
I did.
And it's based on the word Cenobites, right?
Yeah.
So Cenobites, Cenobabes. We're both huge Hellraiser fans. What we like to do is get together, watch horror movies, and then we just talk about it. So that's the whole shtick.
Yeah, I've been listening to a few episodes recently, especially last night, trying to get prepared for the show. I've been excited. I've been talking to Rachel about doing this for a little while, so I've been really excited about having you guys on, and I really appreciate and thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
I think we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, this is great, and I love your angle here. Music, and one of the best parts I think of horror movies is the music. It plays a role. So this is definitely really fun. We appreciate you too. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is going to be so cool because I sat there one day. I remembered I was getting out of the shower. I don't know why this is a memory that I need to share, but I was getting out of the shower and I was thinking about y'all's show, and I was like,
okay.
I know it sounds a little weird, but I 100% was just thinking about music in horror films, and I was like, holy crap, we got to get together.
You were thinking in the shower because of Psycho, you were expecting somebody to open that window and
Dude, I mean, I'm ready.
Yes.
I have a knife in my truck that I've had since I was a boy, and when I pulled it out the other day, and I was looking at this thing, I'm like, this is the knife from fucking Scream. Like it's the knife in all the Scream movies. It's a buck knife, 1911 buck knife, whatever. That's the knife. And I've had it my whole
That's
life, and I
funny.
never knew it until like last week. All right, so the last episode I listened of you guys is about a movie I haven't seen, but I really, really am interested in it because your podcast made it sound fantastic, and it's called Psycho Gorman. And I have this thing on my notes that just says Psycho Gorman equals Power Rangers of horror.
That's exactly what it is.
Please explain, because I'm probably going to watch it tonight.
Okay, so I really hope that listening to that podcast didn't ruin anything for you.
Right. We gotta like work on saying spoilers.
I didn't finish the whole thing because I did start feeling a little spoiled,
Sorry.
but
Right.
don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I'm still going to watch the movie. I'm excited about it.
Good. Yeah, that's part of why we do our podcast too, is we want to introduce movies that maybe somebody hasn't seen and get them excited to watch it. So this is perfect. But Psycho Gorman, it's just wild and it's colorful. There's an alien involved, so if you like alien movies, there's definitely humor intertwined in this.
Cool.
And it's just fun. Follows these two kids as they kind of get involved with this alien, and then of course all hell breaks loose. So
So I could have, when I was listening to you guys talk about this, because you guys talked about like a rock or something in the ground, and like anyway, I started imagining this movie, and I'm like, I gotta watch this, and then I'm one of those people that watches Yellowstone, so I stopped and watched Yellowstone with my wife. And then then it was 11 o'clock, and I'm like, oh crap, I haven't sent the girls an email about tomorrow's show, and then I sent you all the email, and I was out, sleepy time.
no worries. Yeah, there's definitely a meteor type of thing involved, right?
Yeah.
That hits the ground, and there's part of a discovery process that happens. Something inside of that is kind of glowing, and we don't want to give too much away, but
Sure.
There's definitely otherworldly elements. There's a meteor, there's a gem that kind of is powerful and mystical, and then there's just little kids playing what they call it, crazy ball or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was actually.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Is Crazy Ball the game?
It's
Is Crazy Ball the game that they like made you play in the gym, like when we were kids?
like dodgeball, maybe?
Like
I don't know.
dodgeball, sort of, but there's like just a ton of balls. It's not just one. It's like
all the balls,
1,000
right?
Or whatever.
I was gonna say it was really bad too with dodgeball. If you were like last pick, you never wanted to be last pick. Like that was worst. Yeah, but anyway.
They banned war ball or crazy ball or whatever it was at my junior high. I grew up in Katy, Texas, so I went to Katy Elementary, Katy Junior High, and Katy High School. And in Katy Junior High, Coach Mack was like, "All right, we're playing this game, war ball." And the very first day, somebody broke their nose, and then they're like,
wow.
"Oh God,
never mind,
we're done.
We're done."
Yeah, that's pretty serious. That is a ball to the face.
I mean, that was the 90s.
Some heat.
Put some dirt on it.
We used to be able to like ride in the back of a truck, and it wasn't illegal.
It was it wasn't a big deal. Do whatever, man. Like you're in the back of the truck standing up. Who cares? Cops would
now it's like
the things we used to do. We would stay out all hours. My dad demanded that I was gone all day. Like in the summer, he was like, "You can't be at home."
Oh wow.
He didn't even care where I went. It was just like, you can't be here. So like I got into all kinds of trouble.
I would disappear until sundown, and then sometimes beyond, and then come home, go to sleep, and then my parents would actually go to sleep, and I'd jump out the window and go run around in the woods for hours.
Did you ever put one of those fake bodies in your bed, like stuff like sheets to make it look like a person?
I totally put pillows.
Fake bodies.
Yeah, I put pillows underneath there and like made it look like I was. So they just crack the door and look in, and okay, he's still there.
See, this is why we kind of messed up. Like my dad was like free range parenting, like whatever. I played outside constantly. Then I got sent to my.
Sorry,
I don't know.
Anyways.
What? But like my mom, on the other hand, was just like rules. So like I was always grounded, so I never got to like do much.
I was always grounded
Yeah.
too, but I just waited till they fell asleep and jumped out a window.
I did sneak out.
Or
I
friends
did.
snuck in my window too, which was always startling when you didn't plan on going out, and then also your window just opened. Oh God, I'm being abducted, and then it's your
Yeah.
friend. You know,
And then it's
oh,
your friend.
what are you
That
doing
kind
here?
of that kind of reminds me of the movie Scream. Like,
Oh
because
yeah,
Billy Loomis would kind of come into her room that way, Nev Campbell's
100%.
character.
100%. That was my life. People either came into my house, my room, because there was some my dad had been doing the siding on the house for like what felt like 1,000 years. Because when you're younger, 2 or 3 years is an eternity.
Time
Which
moves differently. I think we
Yeah.
can
yeah,
we can all
right.
agree.
Yeah, I was 39 minutes ago, but it was really 9 years ago. So I don't know how it happened. But anyway, so my dad left the scaffolding on the side of the house, and that allowed people to jump up to the second story to get into my room. And then vice versa with all my other friends. Like I was 17. Sometimes I ran away from the house or whatever, didn't want to be with my parents, and I'd knock on their window. If they didn't answer, open the window, just slide on in, pass out on the floor. I was a degenerate. But
Me too.
anyway, it's just how it worked. It was fun. It was fun, and it was scary, and it made us who we are. So
Right.
it is what it is. But
And you're
anyway,
alive today, and that's what matters.
Mhm, thankfully.
yeah, I love it. All right, so man, now I kind of want to talk about Scream, and that Scream's not even in my notes. You know
No.
what? Let's save it. We'll talk about Scream when I come on your show, because I hope
Okay.
I come in on your show.
I would love to have you. We definitely should do that.
Okay.
Okay, I want to jump over to this entire page of Nick Cage.
All
So
right.
I want to
Yes.
start out this way. At my job, I've been working at this particular job for 6.5 years. Who cares? But the very first day at my job, I met a guy named Dale Gunderson. I'm doing this for a shout out because Dale watches the show. Anyway, so I met Dale. He's super nice. I leave to go outside and do what I do, and when I come back to my little cubicle or whatever, I notice that my mouse doesn't work, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I can't get it to work. It doesn't move. Well, there's this little light on the bottom, right? And
Ah,
so I finally kind of figure out maybe something's wrong with the battery or whatever. I flip it over and I look, and that little light is covered over with a picture of Nicolas Cage doing this crazy face.
Right.
So now at
From
my
Kiss
office,
from the Vampire is usually
yes,
that image is from that
oh,
movie.
I have Nicolas Cage stamps, socks, shirts. I mean, I have
That's so
this a whole
funny.
thing. At our offices, I frequent 6 of them around the country. And so it doesn't matter if I'm in Provo, Utah, Casper, Wyoming, Springer, where Springer, Oklahoma, which I go to quite frequently. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I end up leaving a Nicolas Cage picture. I'll print it off the computer and stick it underneath somebody's
Oh, that's
desk
so funny.
or whatever.
I
So
like this.
it's this long running joke, and it's all because of Dale, and I think Dale got it from another guy, Kent. But anyway, so
So this is contagious.
it's contagious, and please go out and spread it.
Okay.
A surprise Nicolas Cage making a weird face.
Yeah, it can like
It-
change someone's whole life, you
It
know?
changes your whole. It definitely changes your whole day, or at least your next
Yeah.
5 minutes. It's fantastic. And anyway, so that's why I've always loved Nick Cage anyway. And
Mhm.
then
Same.
when he decided to become a parody of himself, which I think was the best move he ever made,
Right.
it made me love him even more.
See, I have
And
like conflicting issues, which is funny because like if any of you guys have ever watched the show Community, there's
I
a
don't
whole
think I have.
episode where this character Abed is talking about like, is Nicolas Cage the best actor in the world or is he the worst? And like it's like a whole thing. And it's so funny because like I feel like that with most of his roles. Like there's movies like I can't stand him in. Like I
Sure.
hated it. But then he comes out with The Color Out of Space, which I was hoping that you were going to talk about.
It's on the list.
Good.
Let's talk about it now.
Yeah, that's my favorite horror film that has come out in the past. I guess I don't remember when it came out, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
But
was that an H.P. Lovecraft thing?
yes,
Yeah.
it is. And I wanted to like talk about why the movie is so amazing. So like I think I have like dyslexia. I would like to read novels. I have novels, but if I actually sit down and try, it's just like a struggle. It takes like years. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
finally started
understand
listening
completely.
to audiobooks.
Oh, cool.
And when COVID first hit, that's kind of what I did because H.P. Lovecraft, although not necessarily a great person in his personal life, is undeniably one of like the biggest influence, at least in my favorite horror films. And in the beginning of the movie, which is composed by Colin Stetson,
Oh, cool. Oh,
um, there's a
I need
song
that.
that's called West of Arkham, and it plays, and it has this beautiful imagery, and it actually reads the novel, the very first little snippet, and like it gives me goosebumps every single time. It's just so good and so beautifully executed and written. And yeah, I can't go on enough about how much I love The Color Out of Space.
Yeah, I watched it several times.
Yeah.
I mean, along,
I
I mean, they
listen to
don't.
the score. I don't know if you call it a score or soundtrack, but I literally listen to it at least once a week. And
Oh,
when I,
awesome.
but it's like a soundtrack to my day, like I think as far as like music and films go, I lean more towards scores
Me too.
personally. But
I have a big picture of, you can't see it, but The Crow. It's a giant movie poster, original movie
amazing
poster.
soundtrack.
The soundtrack was fantastic, but then
Right.
they released the score, and the score even had like Eric Draven playing the guitar solo on top of the roof and stuff.
I
And that's
didn't
how I
know
learned.
that.
Oh, man, I'll never forget the day I learned how to play that thing.
Hmm.
I thought all the chicks are gonna love me, man. I got it was such a cool. I mean, dude, this when you hear, and then like we were talking a little bit before we started recording about how music plays such a huge role in everything. And like when Eric Draven's running across the roof and Nine Inch Nails, Dead Souls or whatever that song is starts playing, it, it brought the whole that. I mean, God damn it, they're redoing The Crow. There's going to be a new one. I'm scared.
I like
But
Bill Skarsgård, so don't be too scared. I think he'll do a good job.
I was happy when it was Jason Momoa, and then he dropped out, and I was like, how many people have dropped out of this thing?
Right.
I like
I think
Jason too, so we'll see.
well, I think it was Bill Skarsgård
Or
who
Bill,
played in.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, wait, is it somebody else? Did he drop out?
It
Fuck,
might
you
have. My
know?
bad. No, I had said Jason before, so I said Jason again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just old
I think
noggin
I
ain't
think
working
we
too well.
can I think we can give him a chance. I mean, like Pennywise is a character played by Tim Curry, which is one of my favorite actors, and I thought no one would ever like swayed me away from him in that role. Even
Yeah.
though, to be honest, I don't think the films aged that well. I
Mm.
still love them very much, but like I was super impressed, at least with the very first It remake. But kind of
Yeah.
kind of
I like it.
derailing a little bit, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well,
This is
no,
what this is all about.
All right, cool.
yeah, I have to say, like, too, Pennywise, I mean, I see what you're talking about. It didn't really age well, but as far as the clown goes, like, it's still a little scary maybe, but the way they were able to use technology and better SFX makeup and everything and really, I mean, I feel like he made that his own and
Yes, he
but
did.
did it justice.
Hmm.
Both of those characters are
Absolutely.
great, Tim Curry's and Skarsgård.
So
I
They
give
think
him
I
a
both did
saw
a
a
great
chance.
job.
picture of. I think I saw a picture with Rachel. You were hanging out with him at some point, weren't you, Tim Curry?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say hanging out. I wish,
You
but like
took a photo with him.
I paid a lot of money
Oh, okay.
and had a wonderful few seconds. He said I looked cool. His shirt was very soft, and I can die happy. So
There
yeah,
you go. Well, that's
worth
all that
all
matters.
of it. Worth
That's all that
every
matters.
yeah, yeah. Like to have a chance to meet him. Uh, Legend is actually my favorite movie. Like
Mine.
although my favorite genre is horror, and I can pinpoint my favorite films in different like subgenres, I guess. Um, I mean, it's hard. I love so many films. Obviously, we have a podcast
Sure.
talking about horror films,
Right.
but my favorite movie is Legend, and Tim Curry plays Darkness in that. So like,
Oh yeah.
I never in a
Those
thousand
horns
years.
are
I
crazy, dude. They're like
know
the size of my arms coming out of his head.
you can't
They're
beat that
awesome.
image. I actually gave Laura one of my Todd McFarlane Darkness
Yeah,
action figures because
I
I had
have it.
like
I think it's behind
four.
me.
So
That's
I
awesome.
love that. I cherish it. It actually, I think, is on the shelf behind me. I love Legend as well, and that's actually one of the first times that you really, or maybe one of the first times that I noticed like a Satan type character in a
Yeah.
movie, and it's like you see all of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that is
It deeply
implied. It's
disturbed me as a young girl, but it
Yeah.
totally intrigued and intoxicated me, especially when
mhm.
Lily turns into Dark Lily. It's just, I've never
Yeah,
related so much, like even now in my life, to a character as much as I do with Lily. Because
yeah.
like she's into the darkness stuff or the dark stuff, but is
She
ultimately
still has a
trying
good
to be a
heart.
good person.
Yeah,
It's a very important movie to me. And
That's
she
speaking
still
of
has a good heart. Yeah.
scores,
yeah.
Tangerine Dream actually did the score for that film.
Yeah.
And Tangerine Dream also did the score for another one of my favorite vampire horror film, which is called Near Dark. Eventually I'd like to do an episode on that with you because I know you haven't seen it yet. So
Yeah, I haven't seen that. And I think when I was looking up some stuff the other day, The Keep also is something that might be interesting to watch. I think
okay.
Tangerine Dream did the music for The Keep as well.
Very cool. And I haven't seen that. So that's also what I'm
Me
about. I feel
neither.
like I'm very versed in things, but there's so much I want to like learn,
There's so much to learn. There's
I'm
so much to
open.
learn. And when you're expanding your horizons with music, with movies, I mean, you're only gonna continue to get inspired. You're just, you never know what you're gonna see or what idea you might get from something that you see or hear. You got to keep
Absolutely.
doing that stuff.
Absolutely, man. That
Mhm.
the movie Legend, like there was another movie about unicorns, and it was a cartoon, and I can't
The
think of.
Last Unicorn.
Yeah, dude, where that bull is
That's yeah.
pushing
Pretty dark
all the
movie.
pushing all of the unicorns into the sea.
Mhm.
It scarred me as a child, and
Yeah.
I had to keep watching it. And I think that's a thing with horror movies for me is as I was young when I was younger, I don't know, they fucked me up, but I had to keep watching them. you know?
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of other anime movies like that, like Japanese stuff. But anyway, back to Legend, dude. There's a character in there, and you guys well know Blix.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan. Oh, you can't see it because I got them all greened out. But there's a guy in this poster, and his name is Mortis or Mortis. He's from Norway, and he wears a facial prosthetic and fake ears, and he's a goblin on stage, and
And
he
it looks
plays.
like
Yeah, he plays
so cool.
dungeon synth music, so it sounds like there's people fighting, and then he evolved into industrial music and did this whole thing where he ripped the mask off, and now he's a normal person. But anyway, when I was in high school, I was like, this fucking Blix motherfucker is really good at playing music. And
Yes.
on the early internet, in some AOL chat room somewhere, I was like, this guy lives in Norway in a castle, and I really, really believed he was a real elf, and
That
he
is
his
so cool.
and I believed his cousin was Blix. And so we had this whole like internet chat about Blix, 666, hooray for Blix.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I love
That's pretty great. And actually, Blix is probably one of my favorite characters from that movie, Legend. And
He
it's
has so
just
many
funny.
great one lines,
He does. And like one of my favorite lines from that movie ever is actually Blix. And it's like, black as midnight, black as
Blackest
pitch,
pitch, blacker than the
blacker than the
foulest
foulest witch.
witch.
that's
Yes.
fucking
I love it. So
yeah,
good.
man.
No,
Now
I can't
I
watch
love
it
it.
without quoting every freaking line
Oh,
from that
same.
movie. So
Yeah.
That's what I do with. I mean, I do that kind of with that movie, but The Crow. Yeah, I every line from beginning to end. I watched it 750 million times on VHS tape. And movies are so great,
I
y'all. I
know,
love
right?
this. I'm so happy you guys came on the show. This is
Of
so much
course.
fun. We're just
I'm glad
having
it
a
all
good time talking
aligned.
about our favorite movies, and I love that all our favorite movies are all our favorite movies.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's showing good taste. And I like that. And when you can connect over stuff like that, especially the ones from your childhood,
Yeah,
wrapping in that nostalgia and stuff like that. It's a magical connection. And I feel like people in the world, we need more of this. We need
Yes.
to talk to people that love and are interested in the same things that you're interested in, because you never know what they might have seen that you haven't seen, and then
right.
it's just something else that you'll love, because you're
Yeah.
similar. And that's exactly why Rachel and I vibe. It's like
Yeah.
she just keeps introducing me to things I haven't seen, and I love it. And of course, I enjoy it. And then, hopefully I'm reciprocating some of that, but I feel like hugely in debt. Like I've
Aw.
got a large bill, and I'm like,
Aw. Well, there's
you
still
introduce me
so
to stuff
much
all the time.
more. Like, and just having the
Yeah.
But wait, there's
opportunity.
more.
So much.
There's
Uh,
always more, man. Y'all, this is fantastic. I'm super excited about this. I don't want to keep you guys forever, but I do want to keep talking, and I know we all have lists, but that's okay because we can continue this on another
We could
day.
yeah.
we could
But
also make this like a part one, part two. Like
that's true. We could do
if
that.
we don't get to hit all of it, that's fine.
We can do it. We
Um,
can do it again, or we can just talk for the next 3 or 4 hours, which I
Well,
will do. Like, actually,
I know, like we wanted to have Ryan on our show, so I feel like we should do that. Like we came on his, he came on ours. We just have to all come together and find the best time.
back to Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we derailed a lot from that.
We started with Nicolas Cage, and we went
Okay.
to
I just had to
Legend.
I had to talk about the color out of space, but yeah.
No, and it's fantastic, and I'm glad that was the second one on my list. Now here's one where Nicolas Cage hardly says anything, and it was Willy's Wonderland. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't yet. I'm supposed to.
I'm
yeah, I feel like that should definitely be on a list. I have not seen that one. So
I
now
think
you're,
it's
watch it
streaming on
tonight.
Hulu, right?
Yeah,
is it
I don't.
really?
Well, maybe, but I just watch it
Ooh,
tonight or tomorrow or whenever you guys, whenever
Just
the
watch
move.
it.
Yeah, just watch it as soon as you can.
yeah.
But so my wife and I watched it, and she was like, "How can I do this without spoiling stuff?" She'd be like, "Why isn't he talking?" I'd be like, "I don't know, but it's fantastic." like he's just not talking, and this whole movie happens, and Nicolas Cage isn't talking, and you're like,
That's wild.
I know there's like
it's
Muppets, so I'm excited about that. I
oh
got
yeah,
like
well
That's rad.
yeah. Kind
the
of like a Five Nights at Freddy's vibe a little bit.
kind of yeah,
Okay.
and like what's that place that kids go
Do you guys
Chuck E.
Chuck
hear
E.
my
Cheese?
cat
Cheese.
meowing?
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese.
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
You don't hear Ash, my cat,
no.
Mm-mm.
because he is like Maddie stuck in here. But
Your
okay.
your no, your microphone and windscreen are doing its
Good.
thing. I
And
have
you
one of
don't
those
have to edit
windscreens.
that. I'm just saying my
Yeah,
cat is like bitching.
hardcore meowing. Let me out.
Yes.
I have 3 dogs, so they ruin my podcast. Well, they don't ruin it. That's not it. They ruin my concentration
Right.
frequently, but no one can ever hear them.
Okay, cool.
So we're good.
All right. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no, we're good. Okay, so you guys need to go watch that. How about Vampire's Kiss?
Yes.
Vampire's Kiss. That was what was that? 80.
I don't know the year it has. I think she's the girl from Flashdance. She's like stunningly beautiful to this day even. But it's funny because I remember watching it as a kid and like thinking it was scary, and then I watched
Right.
it in like the middle of my life and it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, like
And then
hokey
I
as shit.
watched it recently and it's like a perfect balance. Like I enjoy it because again, I am conflicted if I like Nick Cage, but I do. So it's just really funny.
I think that's a good thing. You either you love him or you hate him or you
Yeah.
or both.
Yeah. He's
Maybe both.
one extreme to the
Yeah.
other all the time. And I like people like that.
Well, the
So
music
He's
in that
definitely
movie.
intense.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the music in that movie. If you go back and listen to it, it's pretty hokey. They just and it's subtle. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is the music in that is like you don't even notice that it's there. It's just little hints here in the background, but it's just another. Oh, I heard a meow that time. It's a little point. I don't know. It's like before that we started the show, you were talking Laura. You were talking about Jaws, and
Yeah.
and Donna,
Yeah.
and
Iconic.
and I think you would mention a little like something I never thought of, like the music actually talking about how close the danger is getting to you.
Yeah, that one specifically, yes. But in horror movies, a lot of times the tempo of the music can alert you as to like how close the danger is, right? And Jaws is a really great example of that. It starts out so slow and ominous, and it's just those two notes, right? Dun
Right.
up. But then as it gets closer, the tempo speeds up. Dun dun dun, and that's how you know the shark is closer because you almost never see the shark.
Yeah.
It's really only this small snippet of the movie
Right.
that you even see it. And I think it's because they had so many problems
Yeah.
with the animatronic that
I
they
was gonna
built.
say we now know it's because they couldn't get the damn shark to work, that
Yeah.
it actually
But
worked in
do
their
you know
benefit.
it worked in their benefit? You
Right.
didn't really see it. And so the music personified that shark. The music became the danger. And it was really frightening. People were, it's like they knew it was around. And then as the music is speeding up, it's closer, and
Yeah.
you're getting tense and you see the girl's legs like
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
And
great
just
movie.
blood in the
Great movie.
water.
Yeah.
You see it
Yeah.
come out of the water once, half
Yeah.
on its
That's all you
side,
need.
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my God. And then just everything else is
Amazing
just
movie.
blood in the water and people screaming. Yeah, it's a great
Well,
movie.
Oh
speaking
yeah.
of music adding tense moments or making it more tense, we got to talk about Psycho, the original 1960 movie
Yes.
score by Bernard Herrmann. Especially in the shower scene, like the way the music changed, like the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't think
Yes.
that scene would be as nearly as disturbing or scary, even though very racy for its time because a woman in the shower was like unheard of.
Right.
Yeah.
Changed the whole scene.
And I think you're right about that, Rachel. Like music before that in horror movies was very like orchestral. Is that the right way to say the word? Like
Yeah.
it was
It sounds
um
cool.
maybe.
I
Yeah,
think it's
we're gonna
correct.
go with it.
If it's not, like let's all just start saying it that way
Yeah,
from now
right.
on because
Orchestral.
fancy
It is good.
orchestral.
It
But
works. It
it
works.
was kind of big band, you know what I mean? It had lots of instruments and things like that. And it was just very old Hollywood, I think.
Yeah.
And Alfred Hitchcock and his movies is where you can really mark the change and actually seeing these jump scares, and then you
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
string sounds and stuff like that, and it he changed the game. They changed the game
I'm
for sure.
actually wearing my shirt to myself, my Psycho shirt.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
It was
awesome.
a birthday present to myself, or not birthday, Christmas present to myself.
nice.
I think I got it from Fright Rags, so they just released, by the way.
So it's
Badass.
kind of
I'm writing that
perfect that
down.
you're wearing that shirt
Yeah, I
today.
mean, it was intentional. It was intentional. So
Nice.
Perfect. Where was I gonna go? Oh, Alfred Hitchcock. So did Alfred Hitchcock? He did The Birds, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That movie
Yeah.
ruined my life. I mean, to this day, if I'm in a Walmart parking lot and you see all those like black birds everywhere, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, here it is.
It's
It's happening. This is it.
Yeah,
It's
they did a really great job in that movie of taking an everyday occurrence, an everyday kind of item that you might see in your life, right? Birds outside flying around, congregating, especially before migrations and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, just taking an everyday kind of thing that you might see in your life and making it the villain, making it this
Yeah.
scary thing where, oh my gosh, a swarm of birds or whatever
Gonna
could
peck my
swoop
eyes
in
out.
and
right. And
yeah,
I like
they're
Ryan, like
gonna
whenever
rip me
you like
open.
see them all on like the power lines,
Oh, yeah.
you're just like,
Yes.
oh, second I walk out of this car, my eyeballs
Yeah.
are gonna be gouged
This
out.
is it.
Oh
This is,
yeah.
yeah. This is how it ends.
There's a band called Catatonia. That's how I say their name. They may pronounce it differently. They're from Europe. Anyway, they have this imagery on a few albums, and like this crow, this bird, kind of follows, their album stuff. And every time I look, they're first of all they're an amazing band, but second of all, their imagery reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock movies with this bird always looming. Like
I
that.
like
And
it.
Laura, I like the way you said, excuse me, I like the way that you said they take these everyday things and
Mhm.
make them like terrifying.
Yeah.
Because when you
That's
walk
real
outside of your
horror.
yeah, Cujo,
Yeah.
you walk outside of your house and
Right.
there's a dog. You're like, oh fuck,
Oh,
he's gonna kill
Yeah.
me. No.
And I've had a couple different Rottweilers, and so to me as somebody that's had that type of dog,
Cujo was a
um
Saint Bernard.
okay, well, Saint Bernard's, right. But Rottweilers, I think what I'm saying is that they look scary.
They do.
And you do see them in movies where they're kind of this huge guard dog, right? Like, I can't remember. Was it Rottweilers in The Omen?
I think you're right.
It was either
It might
Rottweilers or Dobermans.
it might have been. I think it was Rottweilers. I have to go back and look. But
There
to
was a
me, they
Rottweiler in a movie called Man's Best Friend, starring Lance Hendrickson and Ali Sheedy, and it was like
I love Lance
if you
Henriksen.
haven't seen this movie, it's actually quite heartbreaking, but a wonderful, I think, overlooked horror film starring a Rottweiler. So
That's awesome.
check it out.
Yeah. So, anyways, dog stuff, but they do a great job of. I mean, Rottweilers are very awesome, loving.
Yeah.
They're great pets around kids,
Yeah.
but these movies make them look so scary, and
Oh,
people
dude,
are
they
afraid
do
of
the same thing
Rottweilers.
with Dobermans and pit
Yeah.
bulls,
Hmm.
and I mean,
They
yeah,
get a bad rep.
they can totally tear your face off. I
Right.
mean, for
Well,
sure.
sure, I
But
guess,
for
yeah.
the most part, they're like wagging their butts and they're just happy to see you.
They just want some scratches,
I saw a
They
really
want some
funny
pets.
like a show about what's the deadliest animal on the planet, and it's actually a house cat. But
Yep.
because they're so little, they can't do real damage. But if they had like the power behind them, would totally murder you.
Yeah.
So
100%. No, I saw
And you're
that. I
saying
don't know
this
if that's
as Ash like crossed in the background.
I
yeah,
know. It's like,
ran
where's my
right across
cat?
the back.
He's pissed
I
he
saw
can't get
something.
out.
I saw something very similar where they were talking. They were like the thing that kills the most indiscriminately for no reason is the house cat.
Mhm.
Like lizard
It's
goes
just for
by,
fun.
Wow.
fuck you lizard, and kills
Right.
it. Like I had this cat growing up. His name was Whitey. He lived 18 years. He was a great cat. He would bring us squirrels like daily.
Wow.
Whether the squirrel, whether it was just the head or it was the body, but it was never both. But he would leave them, as a present.
One for
on the
you, one
door.
for him.
That's right. It was like, here you
Yeah.
go, thank you. And I'd have to clean these squirrel bodies or
Aw.
snakes
yeah.
or whatever, like these gifts. I love cats, but I'm a cat person that I'm so allergic to them that they have to be outside cats, and so it sucks, especially around here. I live near Lake Houston, so we got bald eagles and those things.
I am 100% a cat person. And as you can hear my cat behind me meowing, which actually brings me to another movie I wanted to talk about and like a usage of a song that was perfect. And that was Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
With the song by the Ramones titled Pet Cemetery.
Yep. There you go.
The cat Church is actually my dream cat. It's a British short hair. I've looked up the breed. It's like thousands of dollars, but
I always wanted to get a hairless cat.
yeah.
I think they look so cool. But you have to you have to wash them differently. I think you have to because their skin, I think almost the oils on their skin and stuff like that. You have to take care of them differently, I think, than normal cats. But I have a few friends that have hairless cats. They look kind of wicked.
They
There's
look like
also
little
these
goblins.
werewolf. Yes, there's little werewolf cats
I've seen
too that they
those.
have
yeah.
now. I think those are so cool. Yeah. Anyway, cats.
Cats are fantastic.
Well, that fucker Church and Pet Cemetery. I just felt like that movie kind of married two of my favorite things growing up as I was like an impressionable little girl, which was horror films and punk rock. Like just the
Yes.
Ramones starts playing and it's still one of my favorite songs. And I also thought it was really cool that in the remake, which I do enjoy, they did the same thing. It was the same song, but it was by a band called Starcrawler, is what I found out. So
Ooh,
I
that's
thought that was a
band
cool
name.
little nod to the original film.
Starcrawler, that is a cool name. Right.
And
And it
is a
sounds
very
like
cool
a
band name.
female led band too. So it's like a punk rock female band. So
Hell
it's like,
yeah.
oh, that's totally my
I
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I feel bad even mentioning this because it's going to take us off topic, but
That's okay.
my favorite thing about Pet Cemetery is maybe this is weird, but I just always liked that they misspelled the word cemetery.
Oh yeah.
Because to me, I feel like that is exactly what a kid would do.
That
If
is
a kid painted the sign or something like that, they're going to misspell the word cemetery.
Right. Absolutely.
Sometimes I misspell the word cemetery.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
a tough one. You
That's
know,
100% on purpose and a very cool detail that I love too.
I think it's so cool. And, you
And
know,
it
I
makes
got
it
my,
like sadder because it just shows you these little kids are burying their loved pets, you know?
yeah, yeah.
After I watched that movie, I had a little train set. Well, first of all, let me give you a little bit more context here. Literally the same day I watched that movie for the first time, my pet hamster Pete died, and
Oh
I had a
no.
little train set. And back then, you'd have to take these little like wires that came out of the thing and put it into the metal tracks of the train set. So if you put them together, they would make electricity. And I literally tried to bring him back to life. I was like,
Whoa.
yeah. I mean,
That's
this
kind
is
of
like
dark.
It was like
Holy
1990.
shit.
I don't know. I don't know what year it was, but it was
That's
a
some
long time ago.
Frankenstein shit right there.
Well,
I
it
was
is.
just thinking.
Long
I was
story
just
short, he
thinking
didn't come. He didn't come back, and
No.
he didn't catch on fire either. But I
Good.
was like, this is gonna work.
that. That would have been funny. Like you almost gave your little hamster like a Viking burial, like set it on fire.
I know. I don't know who posted this the other day, but it was a meme and has like Ragnar from Vikings, and it says, I don't know, like no one will question a blood eagle or something. And I don't know if
Ooh.
you guys know what a blood eagle is, where they
Okay, yes. Yes,
Oof.
I do.
Enlighten me. I have no idea.
Okay, so they also call them blood angels.
Yeah.
But basically it was a Viking punishment to where they would like basically rip open your torso and then like pull your lungs out through your back. And the way they
Wow.
would tie you up and string you up, it was a punishment, a lot like a crucifixion or something like that.
Yeah.
But they would pull your lungs out through your back, and that's why it was called a blood angel or a blood eagle, because you ended up kind of having these wings, but they weren't wings. They were your internal organs that are supposed to be on the inside of your body.
That
Yeah,
reminds me of Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. It also, they had a blood angel or a blood eagle in Midsummer. Not, it was very, very little, tiny little
Yeah.
part, but they did have one of those in Midsummer. I think also Hannibal Lecter, so the show Hannibal,
Yeah.
had some really cool pieces in there too. And
I love
also
that show.
Universal Halloween Horror Nights a few years back had a scare zone that you walked through that was very Viking themed, and they had one. You just walk right by it, and people are scaring you left and right, and the music was creepy and stuff. That was one of my favorite scare zones that Halloween Horror Nights at Universal has ever done, and it was in part because of the Blood Angel.
I'm so jealous you get to go as much as you get to go. I was lucky to go on my honeymoon, which was actually a Legends themed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they had like Darkness on Stilts. Funny story. So like back when I drank a lot, like in my drunk little mind, I thought this actor would see me and just like decide I was like Lily or something. So my husband's trying to console me and I'm bawling my face off like because the guy ignored me.
Oh no.
I know.
That's happened to me several times. That's happened to me several times with musicians. I go and meet my heroes, and they are
it doesn't go right.
Yeah, they're not what you thought, or they're just in a bad mood that day. And that's the thing that I think, like me personally, like I met Danny Filth from Cradle of Filth once, and I was like, oh, holy shit. And I love Cradle of Filth, but I love that band. And I was, even though the dude, I'm 6'2" and the dude's like 3'1", but like I met him and he's signing my thing and he's like, all right, off you go. And I was like, yes, off I go. I went away. But like I met Jared Leto multiple times and he was fucking fantastic. And you look at that dude and you're like, that guy's a total douche.
Hey, that's
but
really
in
cool
real
to like
life,
to know.
Cool. Yeah.
Because I've wondered about that because I used to be a massive fan of his.
Sure.
But I must say sometimes just the way he comes across, and I don't know if it's intentional or just maybe the way the media is putting out stuff about him.
You know, like Jared has changed, and it's probably because of fame.
My sister actually has a really cool Jared Leto story.
Cool.
She actually ended up meeting him at an airport.
Yep.
And she said he's much shorter in person. Like she actually thought that maybe he was taller, but they ended up kind of catching each other's glances. Like she was on the phone with someone and he like kept looking at her. And I think her boyfriend went to go get snacks or something. Like her boyfriend is MIA for this, of course, right?
Right.
And she tells the story about how they kind of like exchange words a little bit, but like he was so intense, it made her nervous. Like
Mm.
when she finally got up the courage, like, hey, you're Jared Leto. Like, I'm not trying to be weird, but hi, I just wanted to say hi. But he was just so intense, it
Sure.
really stuck with her.
Huh.
You know, she couldn't, like, even
It's the
when she
eyes.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but she told me that story and I almost could feel the tension. I was like, I feel like I've met weird Jared Leto. Like, I don't know, but apparently he just has that. Like
Yeah.
he can be so compelling just even in everyday conversation.
When
So I don't know.
when okay, so the I'm gonna jump into this. I love Jared Leto. I'm a huge 30 Seconds to Mars fan. I was a huge fan of his on My So-Called Life and
Yeah.
all that
I'd
stuff.
be the a-hole saying, "Hey, Jordan Catalano," and he'd be like,
Right.
"Shut
Well,
up,"
like if you go
probably.
back and watch go back and watch that episode where he pulls out an acoustic guitar and sings and he's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like he
And then
Oh
sucked.
dear.
yeah.
And then now he's figured it out.
Yeah.
But
Takes
when
practice, right?
when I first met him, they 30 Seconds to Mars were opening up for Glassjaw and The Used. And Jared jumped off the stage, ran right in front of me. I slapped him on the back. I was like, holy crap, that was cool. I just touched Jared Leto. He ran off. And then as soon as the show was over, I was like in the merch line hanging out and no one was buying their merch. Like this is their I think their
Oh.
first album. No one was
I
there.
love that album
And
too.
I do too. It's probably
it's a
one of
great
the best
album.
ones. And all of a sudden, I'm standing with my friend Erica and I look over and I was like, holy fuck. She was like, what? I was like, look. And there was Jared Leto just standing in the, in the area where all the
Yeah.
merch is. And I was like, I'm gonna go. I was like, let's go talk to him. She's like, no, I can't. You go get his autograph for me. And I did. I went over there, and we had this. He was like, dude, my grandma lives here, because he's from Louisiana, and he's like, yeah, my grandma lives in Houston. This place is, I love this place. And he was just so down to earth and so cool. Then the next time I met him, I was wearing a stupid cowboy hat because I thought I was cool, and like metal. And there's a place called the Back Room in Houston, Texas, or not the Back Room, Engine Room. Back Room is Austin. Anyway,
I've been to the engine room.
yeah, and so I
I
went.
stalked Mike Patton at the engine room. Sorry,
No
go ahead.
way.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh,
Back to
we're gonna.
stalker
I want to talk
stuff.
about Mike Patton, dude. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So anyway, then after me and my buddy Salvador, we were hanging out. I was like, let's just go to the truck, and we were drinking. We had beers. I was like, let's just go drink some beer and wait for everyone to leave because then that's when the band's gonna come out. And sure enough, same, the whole band comes out. I don't know who anybody else is besides Jared. And Ryan, put photo here. So in the photo you guys can see it's me, Salvador, Jared Leto, and we're all leaning into Jared. And here's Jared's brother, the drummer of the band. And he's like in the photo, but like way the fuck over here. And we don't know who the fuck that guy is. Like, and I still feel so terrible about that photo because the guy who took my digital camera, because this is when it came, back in the day when we had separate digital cameras, was like, get in there, buddy, telling the drummer to get in there. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? We're all leaning into Jared. But that's my I think I have one more Jared Leto story, but I'm gonna shut up. I want to hear this Mike Patton story.
Well, it's short. So like I'm a huge Mike Patton fan. Faith No More for a very long time was my favorite band. I also like his side projects, but he happened to be playing at the Engine Room with his other project called Phantomos.
Okay,
and I did the same thing, me and Carly. Carly as well, I think. And we did the same thing. We like stayed there until everybody was gone. And sure enough, he walked out. I said hi to him and asked him to sign my $2 bill, which he did.
Nice.
And that's pretty much it.
But
I love it. It's one of my most prized possessions. I know, because there's a song, I don't remember the name of it right now, but it was from his band called Tomahawk. And he has a line in it about $2 bills. And I got the $2 bill as change at the front door. So it's like, that's fucking fate. You know, like
perfect.
I know I was supposed to have Mike Patton sign this $2 bill, which that has like a really beautiful swan stamp on it, which I've never seen anything like that before.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I miss the engine room.
Yeah. I miss going to shows with my friends.
I miss being able to go to shows with my friends.
Right.
I tried to go to one the other day where I got COVID, and then they actually canceled it. And I got to meet up with all my friends, and there's some photos on Instagram where I'm like, I haven't seen these people in 10 years, and we're all hanging out. It was fantastic, and I got out of my shell. But to do that because of my anxiety level and social anxiety that's just shown up in my mid 30s or something. I wasn't this way 4 years ago, but for whatever reason, oh my God, it takes an army to get me out of the day. And it takes an army to get me to go to my family's Christmas party, you know?
Yeah,
like
I get it.
I have to go be with people. I don't like people. I mean, I like people, but I like being here.
I think go ahead, Laura.
Well, I was just going to say the pandemic really changed that, I think,
Yes,
for a
that's what I
lot
was
of
gonna
people.
say.
And so anybody that had any kind of social anxiety that you fought through in any way, like any of those little anxieties or the quirkiness, you know, that kind of makes you awkward when you're forced to stay in your home and away from people, you get kind of used to not having to deal with what it takes to have a conversation with someone you don't know, or what it's like, you know, going to an area where there's a large crowd of people.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are some people that have a hard time with stuff like that. And it's almost like it made it worse then, you know, all those anxieties just went through the roof after COVID.
Yeah.
I definitely have social anxiety, pretty extreme, and I didn't realize this until I started to seek help in my adult life. And I used to I needed alcohol, which y'all are my friends, and I'm very open. I'm recently sober, a little over a year.
Congratulations, that's fantastic.
It took me
so proud of you.
Thank you. It took me closing myself off, though. I think like COVID, as terrible as it was kind of a tool for me to really not have the outside influences of when I'd have to go out and drink with my friends socially. So like, yeah, I get it, Ryan. Like trying to do anything now. Like I just recently went back to work too, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like a psychopath, you know, like with my anxiety, you know, and it sucks, but you just have to keep pushing through, you know.
I've been
for me,
using CBD oil a lot, and for whatever reason, it has been it's changed me because I'm a male, so I deal with my anxiety differently than, like, let's say my wife. Like, whereas she'll cry, I get angry. So like she'll cry or whatever when because she has anxiety too, and then when I have it, I just start getting frustrated. Like I want to start breaking shit, and it's not healthy, obviously, but like that's, instead of crying, I get angry, and or I get, or I don't know what the word is, like almost non-responsive. Like you'll start talking to me and I'm like,
you shut down basically.
Yeah,
it's wall. It's a wall. Yeah.
I hate this shit, but CBD oil has been helping me quite a bit, and it was 100%. And whether it's in my brain or not, I don't care. It's working. You know, whether it's a placebo effect or not.
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
My state allows medical marijuana, so I'm 100% like on board with.
I'm so jealous.
I'm trying to get everyone to move closer to me because of it, but that it has saved my life. So nowadays people are very open about marijuana. It's not the way it used to be. So I'm very grateful. Yeah, I applied at Amazon warehouse. I kind of like chickened out because like the way I would have had to work would have been overnight. And I've done that before. I'm just not built to do that anymore. So I didn't end up doing it. But whenever we did the drug test, it said big on the whiteboard, marijuana doesn't count. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Whoa.
I never thought I'd live in a world. I'm very excited about it, and I hope Texas follows suit because like it can change so many lives to the better.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I like our governor sort of, but like he hates marijuana. So as long as he's governor, we'll never get it. Him and the general, or whatever, the lieutenant governor, whatever the hell the next position down is.
That other guy in charge.
I don't know.
They hate
him. The man saved the empire.
Yeah. Oh man. It's Rex Manning Day.
It is.
they hate it. And when you talk to them about it and you provide logical proof that marijuana not only saves lives in certain situations, but like corrects anxiety, helps people with cancer who can't eat, who are sick and doing chemo, and there's just all these different things that it helps with, and they don't care. They're still like, it's a gateway drug, and it's gonna make all of
Yeah.
our children do meth. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of crime, I think, associated with drugs and stuff too. And
Sure.
that's one of those things. Like if you make it a product that is regulated, that can be purchased, it's taxed, and all of this, it eliminates a lot of the crime aspect of
Yeah.
drugs and having to smuggle them, and you're
Yeah,
getting
whenever
them from unsavory sources, which could be even like more chemicals, more toxic or whatever. You can actually grow this really great product and then sell it to somebody and tax it. It's, I don't know. We're probably getting off on a tangent, but
It's okay. And this is, dude, I am
you keep
so
saying that
happy.
it's okay.
I'm so happy that because I mean, this is what the show's all about. Like, yeah, I like to
Yeah.
talk about music, and yeah, I like to talk about UFOs, Bigfoot, all kinds of stuff. I like to talk about
oh yeah.
everything. And that's like, we're just having a great conversation, and people like to hear these conversations. They like to feel a part of something. They like to listen to like-minded individuals,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
having regular ass conversations. And this is so fantastic. And because I don't even know how long we've been doing this, but because we're going long, that means we're going to have more material to talk about
Yeah.
in subsequent episodes. And let me okay, before we do one last musical thing,
Okay.
I want to say something about marijuana. It grows in the fucking ground. Like, beer, you have to make it. Cocaine, you have to make it. Meth, you have to make it. Acid, you have to make it. Well, mushrooms grow in the ground too. So mushrooms and weed should
Should be
not be illegal.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should totally be fine.
I
The
like this argument.
Yeah, like I have no idea. Like, why are they in the federal government? Are they schedule whatever one or whatever the worst thing is? Drugs. They fucking, if you walked out of your yard, or out of your house, they would be growing in your front yard. Well, if you had a cow, I guess whatever mushrooms.
Right.
But anyway, I just think it's fucking stupid. And like, I can go buy a 6-pack and fucking kill myself.
Yep.
Every day.
I was
rest of
killing
my
myself
life.
with alcohol. Like,
Me too.
Ryan and I have been friends for a very long time, on social media mostly. We went to a few house parties, I think, together back when we were like delinquents.
Yeah.
But
Very young.
I've been pretty open with my struggles for a long time because I've trying to have accountability to stop. And I can 100% tell you, both of you, if I was to continue on the path that I would not be here. So
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having the strength to see that it was something that you couldn't control,
yeah.
and to undo that for yourself. Like, that takes a lot of strength.
And pot.
And
So legalize it, y'all.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
love
That's
pot.
what I'm trying to say.
My friend
Like,
Brandon from Expanding Reality, and sorry, Brandon, I'm throwing your shit out there, but he's the kind of guy that really wouldn't care. He quit drinking. He's been a year sober too. And I said,
nice.
dude, so how, what was your deal? Like, how'd you do it? He goes, well, first of all, I had to. I said,
Yeah.
okay, good. And he goes, so how'd you do it? He goes, a lot of weed.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
Whatever it takes, though, if it's an unhealthy habit that's causing you issues, that, like Rachel said, I mean, this was a path that she was on and she wouldn't be here today. If you need to save your life, like, do the thing. Stop. Don't drink. Put it away.
Well, I've
That's-
had conflict with saying like I'm sober or not because I don't know if people view it as like drugs. But the argument that I can put out is like if you ever take antidepressants or anything, which I was at some point, it's prescribed to you the same way. So I don't know. I'm still gonna say I'm sober. So
Yep, right on.
yeah. No, whatever it takes.
I've
I
seen.
mean, in reason.
So I've been getting counseling or whatever, your therapy or whatever. I've been on the BetterHelp app, which not a sponsor, but if they want to be.
Yeah.
I've gone to in-person stuff. I've gone to the doctor that writes you the pills and stuff. And whatever that is, psychiatrist. And I sat down there. She was nice lady, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're depressed 100%. You answered all this stuff. You're depressed and you have anxiety. I want to give you this drug." I said, "I don't want that. I don't want to take that drug. Can you prescribe me marijuana?" And she was like, "Well, this is Texas, and so no." And I was like, "Well," I said, "Well, then
Just
you got any?"
checking.
I was like, "You got anything else? Because I'm not getting on these things."
Right. Well,
Because
I was on them for a time, but like getting off is really scary and shouldn't be done lightly. And again,
100%.
I'm
Yeah.
grateful that I've survived.
I have a friend who hung himself after
Yeah.
trying to get off antidepressants, and it didn't work out well.
Oh,
So that's why I was
geez.
like, there's got to be a better way. Like, yeah, I'm depressed, but like,
Yeah.
let me go like put my feet
Well,
in the dirt or something. Let me ground myself and try
our
something
Yeah.
deepest
else.
condolences, Ryan. I'm sorry to
Well,
hear that.
Absolutely. No,
it's been years, but thank you.
that's a really tough thing to go through, especially suicide. And I think um, I've got several things that have happened in my life where suicide it's just it keeps happening, like a couple people very close to me committed suicide. One of them when I was 17, and one just this last year in
Oh,
April.
I'm sorry.
And thank you. And it is one of the most difficult things because man, there are a lot of resources out there, and I think the one thing I would have really wished for these people to do is just talk, like exactly what we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
We're connecting, we're finding things that we like that are similar, we're learning about one another. This is the way you find your path to the
Yeah.
light,
Uh,
and
yeah.
it's sad.
Yeah.
It's absolutely sad.
I had, I have these, I don't know, depressive episodes or whatever. They're not like I'm gonna kill myself or whatever. But I had one yesterday, literally at work, and I walked out, and it lasted for about a minute. I talked myself out of it. But
Wow.
when it hits you, it's there's something
It's heavy.
I don't know, like there's no talk, there's no nothing. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just it's like I just felt like the biggest. I don't even know why I'm airing this, but whatever. Like I just felt really terrible and had a really bad thing, and
Yeah.
luckily I was able to get myself out of it. And I walked outside. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I go out for all the smoke breaks. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, all the people that are smoking, I just go stand out there, like,
Get
talking
some
to them.
fresh air.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
kind of fresh air.
fresh-ish.
Right.
And I walked out to my buddy Brent, and I was like, dude, I understand why people fucking kill themselves. Like it only took me 30 seconds, 45 seconds of this one terrible feeling. And think about that, and if that's lasting for days
Yeah.
or months or weeks, how do you
Yeah.
fight that? And
It's hard, and everybody is so different, right? All of our brain chemistries are different, our personalities are different, stuff that's happened to us in our lives, it's all different, right? We all have our different
sure, yeah,
stories, and you never know what someone's carrying with them or struggling with. But I think what helps is the talking about it. We need to normalize being able to have real conversations like this, and to share that you had a dark moment where you walked outside and you were like, damn, like that was crazy. Um, but the important tool there is you were able to overcome it. You talked yourself out of it. Um, just in that process alone could give someone the light at the end of the tunnel that they needed,
sure,
right? Someone was able to talk themselves out of one of those deep, very heavy, depressive moods. Like, I need to know more about that. Could
yeah,
help someone. You never know.
you're right. That's a good point. The talking out of it is more of like the punk rock or the metalhead in me,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like the depression came over a certain moment in my life. It was whatever, and then it just triggered this whole emotional thing, and it was just, oh my god, it was so bad. And then the metalhead in me, or the little angel on my shoulder, or whatever, or devil, was like,
Right? The
fuck
devil, yeah,
them.
sure.
Like, fuck those motherfuckers, dude. Why do you care what they fucking think? And I just went on with my day.
It's funny you
Yeah.
mentioned that, and it like sucks. I can't think of the quote right now because it was like constantly something I would say to myself, especially when my husband was in a really bad Crohn's flare up. Got
Mm-hmm.
really scary for a while. But there's this movie called The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel
Dude,
Jackson.
Dude, where she
There's
breaks the fucking in the very beginning of the movie, she breaks that deer's neck by grabbing the
yeah,
horns. Oh,
it's one of my favorite action films, but like there's a scene where her little girl falls and breaks her leg ice skating,
mhm.
and she snaps into like the spy she used to be, and she's like, "You will get up, princess, and you will
Yeah.
walk right across there." And like I used to say it, and it
Wow.
was really it was much better the way that she actually worded it. I just blanking. But I
I
used to
can't
say
wait to
that
watch
to
that again.
myself all the
Yeah.
time when I'd feel defeated and like I couldn't do anything or like I was done. It's like, you will get up and you will do this. And it really helped me.
I
So
love this.
That's good.
I love where this conversation is going.
oh
You guys are fucking fantastic. I ask everybody on the show after we're done talking about music or whatever I ask people about the beyond. Do you guys have any ghost stories? Have you seen UFOs? Do you know Bigfoot?
Well, that a lot of questions.
Right.
I like, let me go down the line. I do not know Bigfoot
Okay.
personally.
All right.
I am open to those stories though, like, and kind of those like, what is it like missing? I don't know, what is it, 411, missing 411 or something like that. I can't
Mhm.
I can't remember the number, but anyways, Bigfoot stuff. I'm very open to the idea that there is something that exists that is hiding,
Sure.
in the deep in the woods
Right.
somewhere, where not many of us go. And of
Right.
course, how awesome would that be? It's almost like a horror thing. There's something
Ah.
lurking in the woods that we don't know about that might be there. Um, I was a big fan of Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh, me
Like,
me
too.
too.
love that. So, that's my connection to Bigfoot, I think. But as far as like beyond, like going into the beyond, I so I work in the haunted attraction industry.
Yeah.
So haunted houses, Halloween events. Um, I work on a marketing team that we specialize in those type of shows and those type of attractions all across the country. So I'm in and out of some very creepy locations pretty much year round. Um, I've got to say, and there's even some of these places that are, they market themselves as they are haunted. They may have ghost tours, ghost hunts,
Sure.
paranormal investigations. Some of these places are definitely monetizing the aspect of the beyond, right?
Right.
Um, I have been in a few buildings where I just get this unsettling feeling, and it is very uncomfortable. But anytime I am in Brighton Asylum, which, spoiler alert, is really just built in this old warehouse building. It was never a real asylum,
Oh,
but
okay.
don't tell the public that. Like, don't, like, your insiders and your listeners can know, but
Okay.
like, don't go preaching about it. But like,
Right. Right.
yeah, Brighton Asylum was never really a real asylum, but something happened on that second floor. I am almost 100% sure of it. Anytime we have to do any of our commercial shoots up there, and it's called the Bleeding Grounds, right? It's this second level of this warehouse where this haunted attraction is built. And you climb up these stairs, and it's a very old warehouse building, so
Yeah.
creepy vibes. But
Right.
I don't like being up there, and I most certainly do not like being up there alone.
Right.
If I have to be alone for any reason, it is fast, quick, I'm in and out. Um, there was a shoot we were doing, and we were actually shooting the commercial for their paranormal investigations. That's what we were shooting. And so we were in the Bleeding Grounds in one of the rooms. There's a few cameras, there's a few techs holding lights. There's the talent that's kind of standing on set with us holding their little devices, and
Yeah.
we're just shooting behind the scenes. And those little devices that I really have no idea what they do, the little devices just start going off. Like, they just start going
Oh,
off.
like the
And
EMP,
we,
whatever those. Yeah.
yes, yes. And like, we weren't recording at the time. It was just kind of an in between moment on set. We were waiting on something or someone or whatever. But like, those little doodads started making noise, and I look over at the
I would have
owner,
fucking ran right the fuck out of there.
and I was just kind of like, I look over at Rich because he owns the joint, and like, if he starts getting unsettled and wanting to leave, I'm going to follow Rich out. Right.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
look over and he's kind of, smirking or whatever. He's really not a big deal. And I'm like, you realize these things are going off. Like, what is it that and so then they're like, let's get the cameras going. Like, we can actually get them in action. And so they start filming, start recording. But I just start taking steps back because
Yeah.
at this point, I know that I'm uncomfortable and I want to leave the room. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure what those devices are saying. And I'm imagining all the things like there's entities in the room and they're trying to communicate with us or something.
Right.
So my mind is already taking me to that place where like I'm freaking out. So I'm
Yeah.
taking steps back and um, I felt something touch my shoulder.
Yep. Nope. I'm
And
out.
I screamed bloody murder, ruined the shot, by the way, because they had to edit that out. I screamed bloody murder and like ran out of the room. And people started laughing. Like they were just laughing it off. And I'm like, nothing was behind me.
Yeah.
I don't know what touched me. And then immediately I got really paranoid and I was like, was it one of you? I was like, who was
Right.
it? Who did it?
Right.
Because then I'm
Yeah.
like trying to explain it away. Like maybe it wasn't something, maybe it was just one of my friends knowing that I was scared and like, maybe it was the haunt owner or something just reached around and got me. But no one would own up to it. And after that, it is like I knew the bleeding grounds was creepy. I knew something was going on there because my spidey senses kind of always went off when I was up
Sure.
there in the upstairs.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that happened. And now I will never go up there alone. I just don't want to be it. I don't want to
Right.
be there.
Don't blame you.
It's creepy. Nope, don't like that.
Yep. Nope. Not doing that again. We're done.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never been one to like want to play with ghosts, It's like I like lore, I'm open as well, but I'm
I'm
not trying to
open.
play around with that. Like, if there's a Ouija board, I'm not touching it. Like
So
no thanks.
I've had a couple Ouija boards just because the thing is I like the dark and the macabre. Like
Obviously.
I like creepy things. I love that. And so I've had a few Ouija boards. One of them was just made by Parker Brothers. So
I was gonna say
naturally that
Mattel
just
or something, right? Yeah.
it naturally makes it feel like it's not scary at all. But my dad, when I was a little kid, my dad, he got very angry at me because me and my stepsisters, we made a Ouija board because we wanted to play with the Ouija board
Yeah.
so bad. We wanted
Right.
to have one. So
That's
we made
the
one.
that's the sketchy part.
Yeah. And so my dad comes downstairs and catches us in the middle of our craft. Okay. Um, and he gets so upset and he demands that we throw it away and we have to throw it outside. Like we have to throw it away outside the house. He doesn't even want it in the house.
Yeah.
And then he sits us all down and I'm imagining he was doing this to teach us a lesson, but he told us a very creepy story about a Ouija board and him and his friend Preston, how something spooked them, and they took the Ouija board and they went and they threw it away outside of Preston's house. And the next day, the Ouija board was back in Preston's room.
Nope.
Yes.
And
That's
my
creepy that you said that.
yes,
I have a rebuttal.
you
Continue.
have one.
Well,
Well,
no,
okay, so I'll finish my dad's story. So my dad says, like the Ouija board came back in the house mysteriously, right? Yeah, could we explain this away that maybe, the parents saw, why is he throwing this away? Like, this is a toy. Like, let's put that back in his room. Maybe I definitely am one to analyze things and ask questions. But it was enough to scare my dad and his friend to where the next time when they threw it away further away from the house, right? They took it to a building, somewhere, an establishment, something. They didn't want to throw it away at Preston's house. And they were like, see if you can find it and put it back in our room now, spooky ghost. Like, yeah, joke's on you. And the next time they walked by that area, that building had caught fire and was burned down. And so
Whoa.
these two little kids are like looking at this and going, Ouija board's bad. Like,
Yeah.
you're not ever doing that again. So who knows what happened, right? But my dad tells this very serious story to me and my stepsisters. And we were sitting there and we were like, holy crap, no Ouija boards.
Right.
But something in my head was like, maybe Ouija boards.
Maybe Ouija boards.
Maybe, but later,
Okay,
you know,
so
like maybe. So I've had a few, but I never really have tried to use them. They just end up being like a decoration at a Halloween party or something.
Sure. Yeah. I've had
Um,
all the Mattel ones or whatever, Parker
Parker
Brothers.
Brothers. Yeah,
And but we had one that was made out of wood and like someone made it.
nice.
This is like 1997. I think it's my it doesn't matter who it was. I think it was my friend Jacob. But anyway, we're messing with it. I'm like, you're pushing it. No, I'm not. I'm like, I'm not fucking pushing it, and we didn't get it was moving, but the message it wasn't
Wasn't
legible.
clear.
Yeah, it wasn't. We didn't know
Oh,
we didn't know what it was, and I was like, "This is fucking stupid." And we went and we took it and threw it away outside in the trash can. And the next fucking day, it was back in the fucking living room. Now, whether my fucking dad went out there
this
and was like, "What's going on?" But it literally, I mean, not that never happened with the Parker brothers or whatever stuff. It happened with that
right?
wooden.
That's so crazy. I love that you have a similar story too, because now I'm just even asking even more questions. Like,
I mean, it could
you know,
easily, like you said, it could have easily been my dad just thinks it's all fucking stupid. So he could have easily been like, "This shouldn't be in the trash. This is still in good condition." My dad's a
sure,
hoarder. He
yeah.
should see his garage. But like,
Why would you throw this away?
maybe.
right.
It's funny. There's a TikTok video that I ran across one time where it's basically there were girls from school sleeping over upstairs, and they're upstairs playing with a Ouija board. And then the TikTok video, you just see the dad downstairs with the circuit breaker open.
Oh yeah. Oh
And or
yeah. I've seen
right, and
this.
so he's like looking at all these breakers, and he's kind of like, and you see the thing, and it's like the girls are upstairs playing with a Ouija board, and then he
Yeah.
just takes and he flips it on and off a couple times, and all
Yeah.
you hear are like 12 and 13-year-old girls screaming bloody murder upstairs. And I'm like, you know what, that's some really cool horror points, but like some really cool dad points right there,
Yeah.
like scaring the kids. Like, yes, maybe they were just trying to scare you too, I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a
This is
fun video.
y'all. I will never stop talking to you. Like this is
Well, I
fantastic.
gotta do my from beyonds before we
Yes,
hang up.
please.
Yes.
Please.
Okay, so as far as Bigfoot goes,
Oh, I have Bigfoot stories too.
um, I I picked Harry and the Hendersons as the movie I chose to get my braces taken off. So I think that's a fun little point that we all
Oh,
love that movie. I loved it
yeah.
so much. I sat there like
Yes.
that was my choice.
Love that movie.
Personally, no, but my dad, speaking of dads, has lots of stories about when he was a kid and seeing Bigfoot. I can say my father reminds me a little bit of the dad on Big Fish, where his stories are a little bit exaggerated.
Sure.
So I don't know. But
Okay.
from the beyond, my mother-in-law's house used to be supposedly haunted. And I lived there on and off a few times during my husband's illnesses. And his grandma said she saw it once. I don't know. Me though, when I lived there, it always kind of felt like something was sitting on the bed when no one else was in the
Oh,
room with me.
Ooh.
So that was really freaky. More than a couple times. And one time the door, mind you, some other person was living in the house too. Like this, my in-laws are really open people and have helped a lot of people. So my door just swung open, and I rationalized it by saying maybe there was a draft from the guy across from me's door opening and closing. You know what I
sure.
mean?
Right.
So those were little things, like
Sure.
always feeling like someone sat on the bed, door opening, whatever. I can like kind of like just forget about that stuff. But there was one night, I used to go through very extreme lengths to get my son to sleep at night. Like he's not an easy sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I would lay in the bedroom with him, like
Sure.
on the floor and just until he fell asleep type stuff.
Right.
Um, for way too long. I admit it. Like I'm a smother. I'm very attached to my kid. Like
That's
that's
all
my
right.
best friend.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he's finally like almost asleep, or I think he did fall asleep. And then as I'm about to leave the room, his train set randomly just turned the fuck on.
Fuck that. I'm out.
Right. So like I shot up and tried to run out of the room, and my mother-in-law just happened to be in the hall right when I was there, and I just screamed so loud. So that was the only one, like, I just
Wow.
felt like I couldn't justify a toy randomly turning on, Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe
I've
it can
heard I've
happen.
heard stories like that with stuff, like especially with like those old like speak and says. Do you
Oh
remember those? Like
yeah,
you
I
had to
do.
pull the string or
Yeah.
something.
But it was like
There's
a up-to-date technology train of his, like you'd have to
yeah,
switch it on for it to turn on. So I don't
yeah.
know.
Well,
Wow.
they say energy never dies, right? And what is energy? But
The next
um,
day I went in there and I had a conversation with the ghost.
you did.
I did. I went in there and I said, I just want you to know if you are here, we mean you no harm. This is my son's room. Please leave him alone. And
Yeah.
then nothing happened after that. So I hope
Wow.
I was just like, don't mess with my baby. This is my kid's
Right.
bedroom. It's like
That's
you've
right.
come in my room, I guess. Maybe you've sat on the end of my bed every once in a while. I hope not, but like don't mess with
Yeah.
my child.
That's
Yeah.
badass. That's
Thank
like,
I
you're
don't know if it
facing
was
re
legit, but like
Sure.
I tried. I was like,
Yeah,
that
no.
takes strength though. You didn't know what was going on and you kind of
It,
like speculated. You're like, listen here, dude, you're
not my kid.
not gonna mess with my kid.
Yeah, not my
I
kid's
like
room.
it.
Come back to my room and then I guess I'll like
I
continue
wonder,
drinking booze. I don't
right.
know. Like it was
I
a rough
wonder,
time.
I wonder, and this is a great thing to kind of think about is they're interacting with us, but do they know it? Like, okay, so like if it's a
Yeah.
ghost, if there's really a ghost, if this energy is still here, if it's I don't know, multi-dimensional thing or whatever it is, are they aware? And
Yeah.
I mean, with some of these stories, obviously people getting scratched and things flying off the
That's
table.
definitely different, right? The whole
Yeah,
scratches and stuff, that's like a different level of it.
that's
That's
a different
But
thing.
poltergeist.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a difference between ghost and
or
poltergeist.
yeah.
demonic
But it's like a ghost coming and
entities.
sitting at the end of your bed or turning on a
Yeah.
train set, aware that you're there. Is
Yeah,
it doing
maybe
this on
not.
purpose to say, "Hey, I'm here," or is it doing it because it's just existing on its
I
level of
think
Yeah.
that's
existence?
probably the second one, at least in my situation, because like my husband's grandparents would come every summer and live here
Yeah,
because they live in Michigan and it like it's so cold in
it
Michigan.
does. Yeah, there's
That's what
snowbirds
they
or
would
whatever.
do. So like she I don't know how many experiences she personally had, but she never like came across like it was like a dangerous thing. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
So, but
I think energies can get attached to like certain locations or certain objects and things. Like I feel like that is something that is true. So it might be that it's just a locational thing. It could be the right kind of energy is happening for it to be attracted to it. But I don't know. I think there's a lot to learn in this whole realm of the beyond because there's really not a lot of answers. There's some questions, a lot of questions, and some really scary stuff. But how do you even choose to explain that? It's difficult,
Right.
I've been paranormal, hunting or whatever as they call it, ghost hunting,
Yeah.
and I will never do that again. The
Yeah.
audio and stuff that was
I'm about to
collected.
do it. It's
oh
I have a few
gosh.
friends that
Oh,
Tracy McGinnis, the lead singer of a band called Choke, and Hefe from Ten Ton Hammer, and then Nikki, uh, Tracy's girlfriend. I told them about the Blue Light Cemetery, which is out here in Houston. And they're like, "We're going and we're
yeah.
videotaping it." I'm like,
It's
"All right."
it sounds like fun. It really does. It sounds like fun. But me and my friend Molly and a group of people went out to Goatman's Bridge, like out in Denton.
Yeah.
Um, and there's some lore kind of like attached to that place. Like, is it true? Is it not? I don't know. But there's a story, right,
Right.
about the Goat Man and who it
Yeah.
is and why he died and everything and why like his spirit haunts that area. It's very interesting. But um, I was out there and there were creepy points, and of course, I got spooked and chills and. Different people were like, "Oh my God, it got cold all of a sudden. Did you feel that?"
Yeah.
Little things like that, right? But
Right.
it was the part when we went back to review the audio files, it was the post-production part of it that scared me the most.
Really.
Um, yes, there was on a couple of those audio files, I mean, it can only be explained as like that is a different kind of creature what we heard. It was speaking a
Uh,
language that was very unfamiliar, but
oh
it just
God.
had this like creepy, raspy, weird, almost a little bit higher pitched voice, but it was so scary. And when you hear that, and when it's not speaking English and you hear it saying something, though, it is communicating, but
Right.
it's not something that your human ears picked up. It's just
Wow.
on the audio.
Yeah, that's
It
baffling.
is it is
Like,
oh,
I'm running.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but hearing that, I mean, all the hairs stood up, right?
Yeah.
Everything just kind of like, it's frightening. I will never go. I will never go again because I'm like, I can't explain that. I don't know what it was, but I
So
know
be
something was
careful.
there.
I'm
Oh
so
yeah.
interested
And
in
then
the
you're like,
government
I
now.
don't want it to follow me home. Like,
Right.
then you start thinking about, oh my God, is it here? I don't even know because you
It
can't
could
hear
follow
it.
you home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no, no
I'm not
thanks.
cool with that. Not
Nah.
about that.
Like I said,
So
don't like interact with the ghosts. Ghosts stay there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Stay here. Bye-bye.
I've
Um,
got I've got so much stuff to talk about, and we're not going to do it.
yeah.
We're gonna talk about
Okay.
it on the next one because so whether it's on your show or you guys come here for a part two,
yeah.
we're gonna have to talk about witchcraft,
Yes.
spells, the Key of Solomon, things of this nature, because
Okay.
I definitely messed with that stuff, and then I have things that I think followed me around, maybe as a child, but I was without getting into it, we'll just leave a cliffhanger. There was some fucking freaky shit that happened in the 90s. And we
I
should
would love
definitely
it.
talk about it. And
So we could all watch The Craft
yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
then get on and talk about spooky witchy stuff.
Spooky
So
witchy.
are we gonna still talk about the other films that we wanted to talk about as well? Because there was quite a few I still wanted
There's
to talk
so
about.
We have
many.
a
If,
I
good
know.
list.
All right, cool.
like
So
Such a good
we'll
list.
get back to music and then music and witchcraft. So yeah.
music, witchcraft, talk about films, talk about scores, talk about all kinds of stuff. I've had such a great time with you ladies. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure being able to talk to you guys. First of all, because I feel like we've been friends forever. And I know
Mhm.
Rachel, you and I have been talking for years, but like Laura, like you and me are just meeting. And like I feel like we're just having like this great fucking sit down conversation. And this is what I love.
Absolutely.
This is why I love doing this stuff because I get to meet some of the greatest people
I
and have
told
some
you.
great conversations. Yeah, it's
I'm
so
Laura's
fantastic.
biggest fan, by the way. I love her so much. So
Oh,
I'm really
Awesome.
and I
glad
feel like
that
I'm
you guys
Rachel's.
could. You are. Well, what you are? You
Yeah.
like me?
Yes, of course I do. I freaking love you. You're amazing. And our little podcast that we have together is just fun, and you expand my mind and you make me better by introducing me to new horror. And Ryan, this whole thing has been so great. I feel like we're fast friends.
Mhm.
Please add me on the socials, but
Absolutely.
I can't wait to talk to the two of you again and to get together and see where else we go. I loved
Yeah.
it. This was great.
I loved it
Aw,
too, man. This has been a great day. I'm gonna have a great rest of
Yeah.
my day. I hope you guys have a great
Yes.
rest of yours.
we will.
Exactly.
We'll just communicate everyone for when we can, do it again.
Sure,
So.
absolutely. All right, everyone. Well, that's been a great freaking episode. All links, damn it. Why do I always want to say Cenobabes? I'm keeping that in there. Cenobabes in the link below. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Later.